Hey, good day, and I'd like to say hi to everyone who's watching on my video, and thank you for watching this video. And today, I'm going to talk about sold out in JB. Are you sure, right? And the title is meant to be a bit something to get your attention, and the reason is because I want to talk about a certain sharing by one of my property agents. But let me start with the video with the usual introduction from myself.
Director of Outbound Marketing at Ryan.
Still in Iskandar, Malaysia. So my name is Ryan. What's that, Ryan?
6,000 incoming supply in Johor. This is
I'm writing thank you for attending today's presentation on Iskandar, Malaysia.
Okay, so my name is Ryan Khoo, and I am a property investor, property agent. I am in both Malaysia and Singapore. I wrote books on property investments, especially in Iskandar, Malaysia. I've been featured in the Singapore media, Malaysian media, talking about real estate investment. You have seen me on stage with many big guys talking about property, and yeah. And if you're watching episode 22, you probably should go watch some of my previous episodes to find out a bit more about what I tend to talk about. And we try to cover a bit of an in-depth or inside information or information that's not really talked about in the market about property, right? With focus on Singapore and Malaysia, especially in Iskandar, Malaysia, right? And today I want to talk about Iskandar, Malaysia a little bit because there was this WhatsApp message that I saw from one of my agents in ERA in Johor, right? And he's an ERA Johor agent, and he shared this screenshot, which I found was really interesting because he brought up a topic about, hey, actually what he says is true, right? Actually, there's a number of projects in JB of a particular type, which actually basically is landed terrace houses, okay? Landed terrace houses, which are basically more or less fully sold, right? And you can see in this WhatsApp here, you said that Aurora fully booked, Senadi fully booked, Esther Heights fully booked, Setia Eco Garden fully booked, Aspira waiting list, more than Bumi really. So let me go through what he mean. And I actually shared on Facebook a few days ago. I said, hey, this is very correct. Right? And actually, if you think about it, these projects are the ones in Iskandar Puteri, which is towards the west. If you think about it, even in the northern East Austin area also is about similar situation, right? In Pasir Gudang, also a similar situation. A lot of non-Bumi lots, in some cases, even the Bumi, right, are pretty fully sold, right, or close to fully sold in JB today. And we'll talk about that as implications to the JB property market and for other types of properties as well. But let me go through one by one, right, these projects that he mentioned. Like the first one, Senadi Hills. Now, Senadi Hills is a project that I've been talking about for some time. It's quite near Horizon Hills. Actually, it's opposite Legoland from the other direction. So actually has a super prime, if you ask me, super prime project, right? UEM Sunrise, the developer, selling terrace houses at roughly 700,000 ringgit, right? Freehold landed two-story terrace compared to, across the road in Medini, that could only buy you a leasehold condo, two-bedder condo, right? But now you can buy a freehold landed, right? In Senadi, right? And this project, if you look at the sales chart, this is a sales chart I'm sharing you. I think quite latest one. I don't have the exact date. You can see the red border one refer to the Bumi lots, right? And even the Bumi lots has only left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 include this booking unit, and the rest non-Bumi and Bumi are also signed SMP, right? This is for phase 1A in Senadi Hills. If you go to phase 1B, I think it's pretty similar. Only left some Bumi lots. Right, and actually for Bumi lots, sales is not bad, quite healthy already. There are many projects in JB where the Bumi lots can be higher available stock than this. But I mean, for only to left under 10 units of Bumi lots, right, in this project is very healthy, right? The rest are fully sold. For Senadi, right? If you go to the next one, which is Aspira. Aspira is part of the Gebang Nusa Jaya township, which is basically near where the high-speed rail station was supposed to be, right, near Second Link. So in this Aspira township, right, this is the screenshot for Aspira Park Homes, right, and you can see red dot represents sold, right, and a few blue dots left, right, like this is the corner Bumi still blue lot, right, and these two corner non-Bumi, don't know whether the buyer managed to get a loan or not, right. The rest are booked. There's no white dots. If you notice, white represent available. And as you can see here, no white dot. No white dot, nothing to buy, right? You can try and queue behind the buyers if their loan fail, but technically now, right, Aspira Lake Park Home is considered fully sold. Right, yeah, this is how many phases? I think 1, 2, 3 phases of park homes over the years. Yeah, fully sold. This is for Aspira Lake Home. Now, Aspira Lake Home is interesting. It used to be called Milia Residences back in the day. They changed the name to Aspira Lake Home. Now, Aspira Lake Home now has boomy lots which are pending conversion to non-boomy. Right? Even that also, we hear some rumor that even all these boomy lots are sold already. So, but you can see hardly no white dots. Right? No white dots, also fully sold. This is what we meant by the queue to buy the non-boomy conversions longer than the available units. Yeah, fully sold. Yeah, this is Aspira Lake Homes, right? There's a project called Aurora Resort Villas. It's a pretty new project by Country View. They just launched. This is opposite Marlborough College, the land. Although they call it villa, but actually it's terrace house. The first is large terraces, right? 24 by 75, which is pretty good size for a terrace house. And this is the sales chart I pulled out. So white is available, and you can see they only have 5 corner lots left, right? The red is sold, the green is the boomy. So actually only left boomy lot. Only left boomy lot only at this stage. Only left boomy lot. These 5 big corner lots, right? So Aurora also almost fully sold. I guess it's not considered fully sold yet, but almost fully sold, and the balance is boomy. And I don't think they'll get boomy conversion so soon because this is a new project. So yeah, Aurora, no intermediate available. Right. Setia Eco Garden. Setia Eco Garden is also not a new project. Actually, it has been here. Eco Garden is also a township, pretty large township that has been here for some time. Their latest terrace phases actually is Valaris, Ilona, Kyra, of which I understand is also fully booked. I don't have a sales chart. I was trying to get one yesterday. I was asking my DD, he didn't have one. The last chart that I saw, which is as of September last year, only had about 6-7 units left. So September last year, 6-7 units. So I'm sure by now, today is already April. It's probably correct that it's fully sold. And so it is Setia Eco Garden Terrace also no more. Right. This is another project that's quite new. Tropicana, listed developer in Malaysia. They have a township. They're calling it Tropicana Uplands, right? And their first phase of terraces called Esther Heights, fully sold, 193 units. They launched in December, right? And first phase is called Esther Heights. Yeah, fully sold, 193 units. Came out in the papers. This was on April 8th. So roughly 4 months to sell out all 193. ERA was also there. We also sold some, right? Not bad price. Location a bit inside, right? But I guess I'll talk about that later. Location, but also fully sold. So that covers what I said in the messages just now about more or less terrace projects. Terrace, 2-story terrace in JB now, more or less fully sold. I think there's not much stock available. So then you ask me, Ryan, are you sure fully sold? Anything else available? Just now you saw like Aurora Villa have some corner lot. Is there anything else if I want to buy, right, this category? I would recommend number 1, Astoria Gardens. Astoria Gardens is also a project I've been talking about a lot. Of course, the price point is a bit higher than the typical terrace because Astoria Gardens, a higher spec property, bigger sizes, but it's also a terrace house. There are limited units left. I think Astoria Gardens now probably has maybe 20 units left. But of course, like I said, higher price point, not exactly your budget basic terrace house. Those terraces that we talked about earlier are probably in the 600,000-700,000 price range. Astoria starts from about 900,000 and above. But Astoria Gardens is still a very good buy ultimately because the developer is selling or the project is selling at a very hefty discount compared to its launch 6-7 years ago. So Astoria Gardens is also one choice. We still have a lot of people looking at it if you are able to go to this price range for a terrace. Avira Medini, right? Right now, a terrace in Avira Medini is about 800,000+. Just over 800,000 you can get. It has a very nice 26 wide layout. So some people like the layout like that, right? Unfortunately, it's leasehold, but it's leasehold 129 years. But some units left. I mean, if you don't mind the leasehold thing, Avira is a very nice project to look at. Not expensive and a good location, right? But 129 year lease, of course, and premier developer. E&O is a premier developer. Also, Emerald Residences at Sunway Iskandar. They also have some terraces left. I think Emerald Residences at Sunway and Avira Medini both suffer from the leasehold tag. Because of the leasehold issue, I think local have some, they try to avoid it a little bit. But we do see local buyers buying actually at this stage. A lot of the buyers for terrace houses in JB now are all local, right? But 129 years, 129 years actually not so bad. If you think about it, like I always tell people, if you buy a 129-year lease property, you pay off the loan at 30 years, right? Bank loan 30 years, right? You still have a 99-year property there. So actually, is quite practical. 129-year lease, and the buildings are beautiful. Emerald Residence, Avira, both are very nice design. Good location in the Medini address, premier address. So this is also available. There's still some stock here. Emerald Residence also about 800 over 1,000 right now, right? I although Aspira Garden is technically not a terrace, but I need to raise it because Aspira is selling at a good price, and these clusters are roughly around 900 plus thousand, which is not bad if you consider it's a cluster. Right? 800, 900,000 for a cluster is not bad. I think now a lot of cluster in JB easily, some clusters, I'm not saying a lot, but 800,000 for a cluster is not a bad price. I mean, if you think like just now, Estuary is already a terrace, but you get a cluster for the same amount of money. Aspira Garden Phase 2, although need to be built, right? Phase 2 means another 2-3 years to get the keys. But I feel I had to include this just because of the low price point for the Aspira Garden cluster, right? 900K, cheap for a cluster in this area, right? And Horizon Hill, I mean, I have to say Horizon Hills, although it's not project, it's generally resale, but you can buy a lot of Horizon Hill terraces today from 700 plus thousand, 800 plus thousand. Maybe the design is a bit of an older style. Horizon Hill design is a certain style, right? But you can get Horizon Hills resale choices around 700 plus thousand, 800 plus thousand, as I mentioned. Maybe the bigger ones in the hills probably nearer to 900,000, right? And the developer also have some stock, but I think not many, right? Limited choices. I think resale definitely gives you a lot more options here. But of course, resale you have to pay, there'll be not so much subsidies for resale price. But I think I have to mention Horizon Hills. Is that I think if you go to Bukit Indah and try to buy those terraces there, generally a lot of them are not gated guarded. You can get even lower, maybe 600 plus thousand, but yeah, not gated guarded, and older buildings, older properties as well. So this is out there if you want to buy terrace. Let's say, Ryan, is there anything new instead? Just now what you're talking about all are existing project or completed project. So if you talk about upcoming terrace, right? If the developer know that terrace house is selling so well, will they launch new ones? And the answer is yes. So like Tropicana Uplands just now, they already clear Esther Heights, which is the phase 1. So they're going to launch something called Azalea phase 2. I think we understand it's about 600 plus units. That's a lot, right? Because the first phase only 193. Says, hey, we can throw in more stock. So they're going to build about 600 plus units of Azalea phase 2. This is coming up towards the later half of this year. Laman Chitra is by another developer, actually just opposite Tropicana Uplands, also has a phase of landed terraces to try and catch this wave of buying because supply of terrace is so low now. Sarasa Greens by UEM, somewhere near on the way to Galampata to SILC. Also, we heard very attractive pricing. We are interested to see Sarasa Greens is also one thing to look out for. Senadi Hills, right, which is more or less fully sold non-boomy right now. So they have a phase 2, tentatively June. But Senadi Hills will probably be priced on the higher end of all this at 700 plus thousand and above, and let's see whether June comes out or don't come out. And of course, Setia Eco Garden also, because SP Setia has a lot of land there as well. So I think Setia Eco Garden, Laman Chitra, and Azalea are generally in the same location. These three, Azalea, Laman Chitra, and Setia, they are more or less the same location. They're going to challenge each other for supremacy in the area. And Senadi Hills, of course, has the best location of the 5, but probably priced the highest as well. Sarasa Green, somewhere in the middle, we heard very attractive pricing also, but their location could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it, right? But yeah. So these are the ones coming in the west. Now, and then you say, right, how about Austin or Pasir Gudang? Well, that's another long video. Right? If I were to do the coverage of all these projects in JB. I think 1 hour also cannot finish, and maybe too much information overload. But I can tell you for quite certainly that this is a similar trend across JB. Whether you go Austin, Austin site where you have Crest Austin fully sold, right? And if you go to the east, right, Pasir Gudang, Meridian East, they have sold several phases already. They are launching new phases because they are still able to meet up demand, right? And you have some competitor there like Parkland coming to, and Tiong Nam also launched some landed there because to try and catch on the wave, right? In the north, in Senai, also lots of projects are fully sold, right? So then the next question, someone asked me, Ryan, how about condo? You talk about terrace, but I own a condo. How do I, or I want to buy a condo? How about condo, or what happens to my condo in JB? Now let me explain this to you in the next few slides as a concept. Okay, as a concept. So think about urban sprawl, right? And I'm going to use Klang Valley as a sample because Singapore already way ahead. If Singapore talk about urban sprawl, people forgot about urban sprawl happened in Singapore 30 years ago, so people don't remember. But urban sprawl in Klang Valley. Now, Klang Valley, now you can see this map on the left is a Ho Chin Sun map, right? I couldn't get a high resolution one. I lost the slide. I don't know where it is, but okay. But it talks about the yellow area, which are all the built up areas, and people get further and further away from the city center, right? Landed suburbs move further and further out because people always want to buy landed first. Landed is the premier property. Same in Singapore, right? You want to own landed. Malaysians also want to own landed, but as land prices increase, right, landed suburbs move further and further away from town, right? And traffic jams happen because you travel much longer distances to get to work, and work always tends to be in the city center, right? And because more and more cars pile in from the suburbs, so traffic jam happen now. Like KL traffic jam very bad, and once traffic jams are very bad, people are okay to buy high rise which are nearer to town, right? Because they reduce travel time. If I stay a condo, it's a trade-off. I stay condo instead of landed, but my condo much nearer to town, right? And usually got more conveniences because I'm nearer to town. So all the businesses and shops and retail all tend to be nearer to town. So I get all these benefits, but of course I give up on my landed, which is further away, right? And because of that, I'm also more willing to buy something that's near public transportation, MRT, LRT, right? Like in KL today, because it's easier to get to work. I'm trading off landed property space for time and convenience, right? And the last thing that you'll see is, of course, urban rejuvenation of older buildings. So as people move out and then they come back in through condos, and they realize, hey, some of these old buildings need to be rebuilt better, rejuvenation, right? Okay, so this is what's happening in KL today. This is it's a big topic on itself, but that's in the summary, okay, in a nutshell. So what does it mean for your high rise, right? So let me go to Johor as let's use Johor. So if you look at Johor, this is a Google map. I just pluck it out from Google Map today. You can see the gray area in the middle basically is all the built up area. So most of the built up area in JB is there, right? I've circled in red. Okay, so generally speaking, right, in red. So, and you will see that a lot of the landed suburbs are pushing out today, right? Now, like for example, if you go to Austin today, a lot of the landed projects are, theoretically what is Pelangi Indah or Ulu Tiram. It's not even really Austin anymore, right? Last time, Setia Indah, right? Maybe about 6-7 years ago, was the furthest, right? From Austin, you go Setia Indah, right? And Dato' on, you go to Setia Indah, right? Because that is the new frontier. But now Setia Indah is no longer the new frontier. Setia Indah already actually quite well developed today. Setia Indah quite well developed. You could even more layout, which is Pelangi Indah. Pelangi Indah is actually already almost Ulu Tiram already. And you can see some project even Ulu Tiram itself, right? Like from Johor land, there's some project, Taman Dahlia, all that is actually Ulu Tiram land already. They go further northeast, right? Then of course towards Pasir Gudang, right? Even Pasir Gudang, in the old days, when we talk about Pasir Gudang, we're talking about Pasir Gudang City Centre, we're talking about Taman Rinting, all these are Pasir Gudang. But now we push out even to eastern Pasir Gudang, which is Masai already, right? And the projects are all more or less, and Meridian East is basically Masai actually, right? By Masing, right? And those in fact, if you go 20 years ago, landed projects were in Plentong, were in Pemas Jaya, but even for Plentong, Pemas Jaya today is quite developed. Don't have, so push out. So like the trend I was saying earlier, the suburbs, the landed projects become further and further away because of land, right? They are getting pushed out further away, right? And Kulai Senai, right? Many projects by Scientex, I think Scientex and probably IOI, some of the more successful developers there. I don't want to talk about too much, but yeah, you push up north. If you look at Skudai, right? Tun Amina, Skudai areas are pretty developed. Taman University is pretty developed. So now they push even west towards what actually is, technically is Kangka Pulai, right? It's not even Skudai. Skudai is Kangka Pulai already, right? But they go decide along the highway to Pontian because that's where the land is, right? And if you go like just now, I was covering in the earlier part of my video, you notice all the projects are in technically in Gelang Patah. Iskandar Putri, yes. I say Iskandar Putri, yes, but this is Gelang Patah, which is probably the edges of Iskandar Putri already, right? As we push up projects like Aspira and Tropicana Uplands, all these are actually Gelang Patah address actually, right? It's not even Bukit Indah or per se. Bukit Indah is already actually fully developed, right? So what does this mean for the high rise now as landed suburbs push up? Now, at some stage in the future, we don't know when. Hard to tell you exactly when, right? There will be traffic jam as people stay further and further away. You know, like if you stay Kangka Pulai or you stay Gelang Patah, you want to go to town to work. I think 40-45 minutes got confirmed, right? Even today from Horizon Hills, I want to go to Setia Indah. It's already 45-minute travel time. I can't make it shorter. I've been trying to do it for some time, but the traffic and the number of roads, right? 45 minutes minimum, right? And once I believe it crossed 1 hour to travel from where I live to work, and that 1 hour could not necessarily could be distance, because it just could be traffic, because more and more people live in, right, and create traffic jam, right? That 45-minute to 1 hour can happen quite easily just through traffic alone. No need even to move further, right? Just traffic jam, right? I think people will start saying, "Wow, damn far, leh. I may not want to stay so far, leh. I may want to move back nearer to town. I don't mind to buy a condo," right? And that may happen, right? When exactly I said I don't know when, but that's going to be the thing that rescue condos in JB. Like what you see this trend happen in KL in the past 10 years, and actually what happened in Singapore 20-30 years ago lah. But so we talk about JB, right? So now the blue ones are where I think for a start lah, right? The condos there will benefit when this trend happens, right? Austin, I highlight here because there's a number of condos in Austin, and Austin, as you know, is very heavily trafficked already, right? The traffic jam there is really pretty bad. I foresee some people may not want to stay Ulu Tiram and come back to Austin, right? Because Austin is very warm, so very convenient. Say, I don't mind to buy condo Austin rather than a landed in Pelangi Indah. I think that is possible because of the unique way Austin is, right? And I said, Pemas Jaya Plentong, nobody want to stay Pasir Gudang too far. As you can see, the distance is quite a bit of a distance. I want to come back to stay Pemas Jaya, nearer to town, right? JB City Centre, no, you say because of Singapore distance. Danga Bay also very good because Danga Bay is in a unique situation of between second link and first link, right? Actually also quite near to town towards the north. So Danga Bay also will benefit in that sense. That's why you see some good sales for Danga Bay condo in recent times after price drop, right? Putri Harbour Medini also, because people say, hey, I don't want to stay so far, I want to come back here. Because Gelang Patah, really all those projects are a little bit inside. They may say, I want to save that half an hour and come to a nicer developed place like Putri Harbour Medini, right? And of course, Tampoy and what I call Lower Skudai lah. Lower Skudai basically includes Lakin and, technically Lakin is not Skudai, but the lower parts of Skudai, right? Like Taman Sutra, all that. Right, I think will also benefit because people may say that, hey, I don't want to stay so far, Kulai, Senai, Kangka Pulai, too far. Especially as younger generation come in and younger generation prioritize the distance and convenience rather than space per se. Because sometimes big house also they don't want to take care. So that trend will happen in JB, and that will be when high rise become appreciated. And it's good that JB is growing in that sense, right? It shows that JB is developing as a city, maturing as a city, where we have the trends that of what happened in earlier, more mature cities like KL and Singapore. Okay, so rational supply, and why I use the word rational? Because sometimes when people talk about Iskandar, Malaysia, they like to talk about things like Forest City. Now, Forest City to me is not a rational supply, right? Not rational, right? Not logical supply. It was built because of some unique circumstances, right? But rational supply in logical area, logically priced, will eventually get absorbed by the market, and economy will grow. And why economy JB will grow? Because number one, borders have reopened since 1st of April, right? This is a photo taken on the night of before 1st of April, I think. You can see traffic jams are there. This is not an old photo. I asked Ryan, you take photo from 3 years ago. No, this is not 3 years ago photo. This is a photo of 1st April, right? And you can see traffic is back, right? And of course, pre-COVID, Malaysia-Singapore borders heavily traveled. This will slowly recover, right, as people renew passports and people redecide how they're going to live again, right, after 2 years of COVID, right? And this economy in JB can only improve, right? And of course, Singapore itself, we have removed most of the COVID curbs as of the 26th of April, just a few days ago, right? And this will again allow more Singaporeans to travel, to spend, right? And I think Malaysia is also moving to that direction. We should probably hear some announcement from Malaysia pretty soon in May after Hari Raya, where COVID curbs in Malaysia will also remove. And this all only can improve the economy, especially for Johor, right? And that will push more demand and people to come back to buy real estate as the supply demand, and economy rebalances like pre-COVID. Okay, so that's my 2 cents. Hope you liked that what I shared just now. If you have any comments, right, or anything you want to share, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe to my YouTube. You can also find me at contact us at alphamarketingsg.com or my Singapore number, my Malaysian number, Malaysian Investor Singapore. Please like my video. I hope you enjoy this. And if you have any topic or property you'd like to talk about, please drop me a comment. I'm happy to share and talk. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.